Hello, everyone. We are having a new meeting together with the artist selected to the Faenza Prize. Today we have the pleasure to welcome Valentins Petiko, who will be the leader of this talk. And as you know, he is a Latvian curator and he is a founder of the Latvian Center for Contemporary Ceramics. He is also curator and founder of the Latvia Ceramic Biennale and Martin Sons Award. And he's a specialist in international art, ceramic art. So I'd like to thank the artists that are together with us today, and I will remind you that if you have any comment or any question, please put them in the chat, and the artist will answer you at the end of this talk. So Valentins, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Claudia. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure for me to take part in this event and to welcome such a talented group of artists who will be participating in this year's Faenza Prize exhibition to this edition of Faenza Prize Talks. Today we have the privilege of hearing directly from 8 of selected artists for this year's exhibition. And we are going to meet Hanna Miadzvedzeva from Poland, then Paula Murray from Canada, Japanese artist Makiko Nagai, Iranian artist Bahareh Nehjiri, Italian artist Fiorenza Pancino from Faenza, Yana Payusova Farbrook from US, Paolo Porelli from Italy, and Lana Rakanovic from Serbia. The artists will share their creative processes, inspirations, and the ideas behind their work. So this is a chance to get behind the scene and to see what will be on display and to explore the diverse approaches shaping contemporary ceramics today. So each artist will present their work, and after that we will have time for some discussion and questions. Let's start. It's an honor for me to start today's presentations with Hanna Miadzvedzeva, who is representing Poland. I know her for many years, and she was born in Belarus, where she studied and later worked as a tutor at State Art Academy. And some years ago, she moved to Poland. So, Hanna, welcome.
Thank you. And can we see my presentation? Oh, yes, thank you. First of all, I'm extremely glad to be part of this edition of Faenza Prize, and extremely glad to see many of my friends around in this edition. And can we start with a slide? Yeah, thank you. I would show you some works from my landscape series. And when I prepared for this presentation, I just realized that it has been 5 years exactly when my whole landscape series started. And it started from this particular work. And it was 5 years ago when lockdown started, and I forced to change my plans because before that I was fascinated by work with porcelain, and I prepared huge project with porcelain in Fine Art Academy in Wrocław. But I remember very well this day when my supervisor came into studio and said, "We're forced to leave building of academy in about 15 minutes." So I took my necessary tools with me and started to think what can I do, what project can I do in my apartment during this lockdown time. And this series started from this occasion, because I was forced to stay all day in home, and restrictions was so strict, so we are prohibited even go around for a walk, and I had to sneak past policemen to have little bit walk in nature and take a breath. And I remember this one moment when I saw this sunset light around, and it was so impressed for me. So I decided that I can start something new, and this landscape series started from this impression. And can we go next slide? And I started with stoneware because it's much more strong and solid material, but I tried to do something in porcelain also. It's much more complicated, of course, because I have to do molds, models, and casting process. And after making this structure on surface drop by drop. But I like this effect also because it's like snow covering, which is hiding something inside. Can we go next? Yeah, all series is about my feelings in particular places, and I like to explore my emotions about different weather factors. So this is landscape in twilight, sun, like light. It's about very special state of anxiety, maybe, or very deep gray cloud. And all my series is lifted on 3 feet to make it more air breathable, and push some air between ground and body of my sculpture. Next. This is also about particular state. It's autumn walks, when you can explore dry forest and dry leaves under foots, and it's very special state of mind when crispy dry leaves can give you some very meditative mood. And next slide. And this work is also about autumn, but it very deep autumn before winter started. And it's about November state when every is in preparing for hibernation and for new life started after winter. But it's time for slowing down and feel ourselves, how we feel inside us. And I had the opportunity to make this big work. It's quite huge for me, for my technique, but I was invited to Norwegian ceramic center in Ringibu suddenly, and I realized that I want to try to make my sculpture in this big scale, and this work will be participate in this edition of Faenza prize. And I think it's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanna, and thank you for sharing the experience how your art had been transformed under the influences of different outside factors. And of course, you didn't tell much about the special technique you are using to create your pieces, but I think this could stay something interesting to explore at the exhibition.
I can explain it after, maybe, because we have very tight time frame. So if anybody will have questions, I'm glad to explore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now we will listen to Paula Murray from Canada. Paula studied both science and ceramics, and she's a frequent participant of international exhibitions and competitions, and I think she has a lot to share about her experiences. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Valentin, and it is really lovely to be with you all and to hear about your work. I want to thank the jury for selecting my work for this exhibition and for this opportunity to share my practice. So next, I guess that's the beginning. So we'll go to the next slide. I thought I would start by sharing some sources of inspiration. I think my best work is here on the left. We spent several years ocean sailing when our kids were young, and living on a boat, you recognize how very small we are, what a small dot in the ocean we are. You're keenly aware of your own vulnerability, and it strips away illusions of control that we might have. And I live close to nature. I live in a park on a lake just outside of Canada's capital. And so every day I'm very privileged to witness these shifting wind and water and light just outside my door. And these moments deeply affect my work. And I'm also an active member of the Baha'i community. And so reading spiritual texts in my spiritual practice shapes my perception of reality. So next. In the late 80s, I was commissioned to create a sculpture for Ottawa City Hall, and it's inspired by the inner structure of a nautilus shell. I'm including this piece in my talk because firing these 33 porcelain arcs was a massive challenge, but figuring it out planted seeds for new directions in my work. This piece rotates once every 2 minutes in the entrance of the City Hall. Next. So I started layering fine strands of fiberglass into my slip-cast porcelain bowls. Over time, I developed a technique that allows the clay to react dynamically to the internal stresses that I introduce. I'm pushing the work right to the edge, letting the clay move and twist and fracture as it dries. So every piece starts out smooth in the bowl, in the mold, and all of this movement happens upon drying. So instead of controlling every step, I give the piece a say in how it evolves. So I've learned how to place cracks deep inside, like in still breathing, or outside the vessel, as in let the waves wash over me. In that piece, I healed the open wounds, filling the cracks, layering and refining the sweeping movement of the clay over multiple firings. And then the piece on the right, it cracked open completely in the kiln, leaving behind the original bowl form and giving me something entirely new to work with. Next. So this balance between control and surrender, I think really defines my approach. I think of it like a relationship between a choreographer and a dancer. I do something, it does something. You know, as the porcelain shifts, I step in and start layering clay and glazes, trying to find the story held in the transformation of each piece. And after multiple firings, these textures emerge that feel very organic, like veins or scars, or the imprint of time itself. Next. So in recent years, I've been bringing more color into my work, exploring a more vibrant emotional landscape. And as in life, you know, cracks inevitably emerge. And so I'm very interested in how we respond to trauma, both within ourselves and with each other. Next. So for me, the space inside a vessel feels very sacred. It's just as important to me as the form. Sometimes there's one story on the inside, another story on the outside. Casting large vessels makes these pieces feel connected to the human condition. And lately I've been piercing the surfaces, breaking the boundary between the physical and the spiritual, letting light and air move through them. Next. So along with my individual vessels, my practice of creating installations has been a very important part of my career. In this piece, Connexion, I was suspending 95 porcelain scrolls, and each has delicate cracks that I filled with a dark clay that may resemble a language waiting to be deciphered. So I'm really fascinated by how knowledge is passed down, what we hold on to, what we leave behind. And these suspended bridges lead to a circle of overlapping porcelain arcs. And that's, for me, symbolizing the interconnectedness of all things. And, the broken pieces on the floor are, you know, what we're leaving behind. Next. So You Are Me was an important piece. It was commissioned by the Ottawa Art Gallery, Contemporary Art Gallery in Canada. It was invited to the Taiwan Biennale in 2018. And here these individual pieces are in dialogue with each other. I was thinking about how life can shift in an instant, how any of us could find ourselves anywhere on the circle of life. Next. And this is a more recent installation. It's called Passing Through, and it's exploring the ideas of home, not just as a physical place, but as a state of mind or soul. So each cone starts out the same, but becomes its own individual character as it dries. I made the shape open to receiving and letting go, so there's a hole in the bottom of the cone. And I suspended them in this web of linens, like an energy field or a web of connection, where they feel vulnerable yet held, floating between the earth and the sky. And then next. So finally, this is the piece that has been selected for the Faenza Prize. I started this series when I was in a residency in Jingdezhen in China. So Synapses is its title, and it explores the unseen connections that hold us to the earth and to each other. It's made up of 19 porcelain discs, each pierced with patterns inspired by the stars, the constellations. And the number 19 is meaningful. It reflects cycles in nature and the cosmos, marking both endings and new beginnings. And the cracks, they connect these points like neural synapses. I think of them as pathways of energy and communication. They also can echo fractures in our environment, reminding us of the imbalance between humanity and nature. And but I see a lot of potential. You know, even in damage, I see that there's room for light, for renewal. And when I'm thinking of constellations, you know, our actions also can form a map, guiding us towards a future where I have hope and hope for healing and moving towards a better place. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Paula. I think your pieces show perfectly how nature and spirituality affect art, and you can see all these natural and spiritual things going through your artworks and going through your creative process at all. So thank you very much. And now we can listen to Bahareh Nehjiri from Iran. Bahareh Nehjiri was born in Iran. She studied ceramics in South Korea and is special in combining traditional and modern concepts inspired by geometrical patterns. Bahareh, you are welcome.
Hello, Valentins. First, it's an honor to be here with a great artist and to have my work selected for Faenza. We can have the next slide, please. I'm from Isfahan, Iran, a city where art is everywhere in the architecture, in the patterns, even in the smallest details of daily life. From my childhood, I was always surrounded by beautiful geometric design, elegant domes, and intricate tile work. The balance between mathematics and art in these spaces left a deep impression on me. This love for craftsmanship led me to study craft in Iran for my bachelor. And when I came to Korea, I continued my study as a master at Kyunghee University in Korea. Uh, my perspective started to shift. I was still deeply connected to my uh, Persian roots, but I also became interested in contemporary and conceptual approaches to ceramics. This blend of tradition and modernity became the foundation of my artistic journey. Uh, we can have the next slide, please. From the beginning, I've always been drawn to precision, intricate details, and geometric patterns. Persian architecture, uh, with its carefully structured, fascinated me, and I wanted to find a way to bring that same sense of harmony into my ceramics. Over time, I started blending traditional inspiration with natural elements. The shifting colors of a sunset, the softness of waves, the way light moves. My work became a mix of structure and fluidity, where geometric elements and gradual color transition come together to create a layered experience. I also explored a parametric design using calculating flowing patterns to bring a sense of rhythm and motion to my pieces. This combination, traditional Persian geometry and natural influences and modern precision, has shaped my work and brought me uh, here where I am. Uh, Next, please. Yeah, in this series, I explore lightness, movement, and balance through carefully layered ceramic forms inspired by sunset and sunrise colors. I used uh, color porcelain clay, shaping thin strips by hand and layering them to create a smooth gradation of color. Each strip has a slightly different shades, allowing the colors to shift naturally, much like the changing hues of the sky. The open, airy structure of these vessels reflects my interest in parametric design and Persian geometric patterns. The curved layered create a rhythmic uh, flowing form, much like the way light filters through architectural lattice work. A strong connection between lightness, movement, and transparency is at the heart of this work. I use a combination of slab building and coiling to shape the base, and no mold are used in these pieces. Uh, every layer placed by hand, and this series represents my ongoing journey bringing together tradition and modernity, structure and fluidity, precision and emotion. Through these forms, I try to capture a sense of movement, care, and harmony in both material and concept. Uh, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. I think that combination of traditional and contemporary ceramics is quite popular between ceramic artists because ceramic material has its own heritage, but you bring it to a different and new level by your mathematical approach and minimalist precision. So thank you very much for your presentation. And now we can move forward and invite Fiorenza Pancino from Italy. She lives and works in Faenza, and she's frequent participant of international exhibitions and competitions. Fiorenza, the floor is yours. Oh, we can't hear you. So, Fiorenza has some troubles with the connection. We can continue with Yana Payusova Farbrook from USA. Yana was born in Leningrad in USSR, and her art is reflecting both her cultural heritage and training in traditional realist painting. Yana has exhibited her work nationally and internationally. So, Yana, you're welcome to present your art.
Great, thank you so much. I'm Yana Payusova. I'm thrilled to be here with you today and to hear from all these amazing artists. It is quite early where I am. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, so it's 5:30 in the morning, but good afternoon to everyone else. I'm an installation artist working at the intersection of painting and sculpture. Today, I will be sharing 3 of my most recent bodies of work. So the first one is titled Weight, Power, Burden from 2022. This large-scale sculptural installation explores the role of materiality in memory and personal narrative. Life-size portraits, standing about 2 meters tall, are juxtaposed with assemblages of artifacts, inviting viewers to reflect on how individual experiences are embodied in accumulated belongings. These assembled objects, when viewed alongside personal depictions, encourage each viewer to construct a unique narrative, one shaped by their own interpretations of the memories embedded in these items. Observation becomes a participatory and collaborative process, revealing the tension between emotional and intellectual engagement with memory, materiality, and identity. Next slide, please. The human figures adorned with inventories of personal objects represent the experiences and artifacts of the dissolved Soviet Union. They encapsulate the profound impact of radical political and cultural shifts on collective memory that continuously shaped, reconfigured, and woven into personal histories. Next slide. This is Meow Wolf, the Kunstkamera store. I was commissioned by Meow Wolf to create a site-specific installation, the Kunstkamera. This piece pays homage to the absurdity of post-Soviet era shops that emerged across St. Petersburg in the early 1990s after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Places where one could find underwear, books, caviar, and toilet paper all in the same store. Next slide. But in this store, visitors won't just find ordinary goods. Here, emotions and abstract concepts, flattery, envy, courage, and ambition are sold by the kilo. A small selection of truths, lies, and secrets is available a la carte. To the left of the display counter, visitors can observe the shop's clientele. A woman who has literally turned green with envy, a schoolgirl who has just purchased some spunk, and a tattoo-covered man who has bought experience. Every shelf is packed with peculiar items, and guests are even encouraged to step behind the counter and imagine themselves as the shopkeeper. Next slide. The experience feels like stepping into a three-dimensional drawing. The sensory input is intentionally overwhelming as there's so much to see. In my work, I constantly explore the possibilities of visual representation, often playing with viewers' perceptions of what is two-dimensional versus three-dimensional. Next slide. And this last installation is from just 2004, is Your Halo On Too Tight. This body of work was my attempt to make sense of our new reality in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Highly detailed ceramic sculptures in a wall-based installation reminiscent of a Rube Goldberg machine explore how propaganda and misinformation spread through our news cycle and society as a whole. Next slide. In apparatus, I created a porcelain Rube Goldberg machine, an over-engineered contraption designed to perform a simple task in an unnecessarily complex way. In this case, the task is spreading propaganda. Next slide. Each component triggers the next, mimicking the insidious ways misinformation accumulates, one seemingly insignificant action leading to a larger, more impactful consequences. Next slide. And these pieces are the ones that were accepted into the Faenza exhibition. This is decoy 1, 2, and 3. Three duck decoys are adorned with imagery from old Soviet propaganda posters, each painted in the tricolor of the Russian flag. The red decoy features propaganda promoting the historical friendship between Russia and Ukraine. The white decoy highlights the dangers of religious fanaticism. The blue decoy warns against the perils of prioritizing money. Next slide. Beneath the surface, hidden Big Brother hands flash cryptic gestures, subtly undermining the sculpture's official messages. These unseen details suggest that, much like in reality, things are not as they seem. Next slide. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Yana. Looking at your works, it's hard to believe sometimes that it's not just a drawing, but a 3D object. So it's wonderful. And of course, thank you for bringing up social and political topics that are very important for Europe today. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentins.
Thank you. And can we meet Fiorenza? Is she ready? So Fiorenza will join us later. Now we have Paolo Porelli, also from Italy, and yes, you are welcome. The floor is yours. Yes, we can hear you.
I am very glad to be here. Thank you, everybody. Just one moment that I go on my display. Where is here? This one. Come mai non va? Just a moment. I'm trying to go on my.
Oh, that's what. Okay.
This is just the cover and are the sculpture that I'm presenting for the Faenza Prize. I am very glad to be invited at this great event and try and to be here trying to introduce a little bit my work. The next is Figure Out Catastrophe or Regeneration at the Holter Museum. And this installation introduces, alongside the concept of catastrophe that originates from the effects of consumer society, the concept of regeneration that offer the possibility to create a sustainable model between mankind and nature. Next, White Pantheon. This is a sculpture that I participate at Blind Sheen 2023. This is another important step where I start using all the technique is a combination of different technique, and also I open my figuration and an abstract element. Actually, this has been really a switch in my aesthetic language. Next. This is we are inside now the Faenza Prize 63. This is when I was at the Archibray Foundation guest artist in the Vulcos studio, and where I create this body of work. And this was not the first time I was using the 3D, but was a period most intense I could dedicate at this kind of expression. And so this was a big change in my career also to create 3D sculpture entirely with the help of Lauriane Touchette, because she helped me with the technology of the machine. This 3D iconology was created, I told, and so 3D offer a possibility to experiment and to create new forms and aesthetic solution. And also it is interesting how technology can be used in the service of nature, because this sculpture want to introduce proprio directly to the support the nature. Next, these are the tree sculpture that I presented, the front of the tree sculpture. And so this belong a new creative season, still in full development, because I still working on these ideas to defense and support of nature. As the use of the color green reference to the natural environment wants to emphasize. And I want to celebrate the establishment of a new union between humankind and nature. And I have the last 3 slides that just are zoom in. And so, Gloria, vedi un po' qui? And this I use also pieces from proprio plants from the prairie where I live in Montana, and dipping in clay. And so there are addition of this original 3D are from these are a caryatid, and the next this was another figure diciamo, this is just by chance, because I like to work on a figure or something that is not classic. And so, and this is the last, this is a Venus, a capital in Venus. And I will be glad to share time with you now when at the opening, when will be in June. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paolo. I see that you are dealing with a 3D printing technique which is quite challenging for many contemporary ceramic artists. And congratulations to your brilliant results, and thank you for the perfect combination of historical shapes and the contemporary approach. Thank you. And now we will continue with Makiko Nagai. Makiko is from Japan, and her concept is to inspire people with freely developed color and forms. Makiko, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear lady.
Hello.
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 Hello. You are welcome to show your presentation.
Is the video connected? Okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I apologize that my English is not very good. The work I have submitted is part of a continuing series called Maki Tribe. The same series was shortlisted for the 61st Faenza Prize 4 years ago. Next, please. The series expresses the spirituality of the fictional tribe named after myself, Maki. The variety of color and the many decorations are manifestation of the human instincts for creation, something that is being lost in modern civilization. Next, please. I usually make my own glaze using metal oxides. This time, I decided to use pigment and blend it into the clay to work with more primary color. Next, please. In 2021, I had the opportunity to be invited as a guest artist at the art residency at Shigaraki Ceramic Cultural Park. Next, please. The residency program has a large 2-meter kiln. Next, please. I drew life-size sketches and then made foam based on them. Next, please. These works will be showing at the facility in the future. Next, please. This work expresses chaos, the fundamental thing that every human being has in their psyche, good and evil, light and darkness. Opposing ideas existed human beings. At the same time, recently, I feel that these ideas are soaring very strongly. Next, please. This piece is called Multi-Tribe Burning. Once the work has been free-fired, I then coated it with mud and fire it again in a pit firing. By doing so, I tried to express duality through the firing process and the energy that emerges from the clay. Next, please. Finally, this work here was shortlisted for the Faenza Prize this year. In this work, the different primary colors complement and blend with each other. Next, please. It expresses the natural energy of human being. The work itself does not have any statement or idea. I simply wanted the title to be positive, so I titled it Solidarity. That concludes the description of my work. Thank you for your attention. Grazie mille.
Thank you, Makiko. Thank you very much. It's not very often when we see the influences and the strong interpretation of tribal and folk art in contemporary ceramics. So it was very nice to see your practice and your examples. Thank you. So now we can go and listen to Fiorenza Pancino.
Okay, we
Hello,
try.
Fiorenza.
Hello, Valentins.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So, thank you for this important moment of discussion and understanding. And thank you to you and to the mic. Also, my English is not so good, so I want to read. Next, please. Contenitori dell'inconscio. Unconscious boxes. Pink, gray, blue, yellow, to create this series of 4+4 artworks. I invented a method to allow me to work without direct control of the mind. So, following the meaning of the colors pink, blue, gray, and yellow from a historical, religious, and philosophical point of view. After a few months, I began to draw the works that I had previously shaped. I draw in the free creative flow, as we do in dreams, when our consciousness produce association of images that are apparently absurd, but extremely important for our consciousness and for our process of awareness. Next, please. Cedimenti, failures. There are moments in all of our lives in which, even though we are very tired, we continue to add talks and efforts. Stopping is not easy. At a certain point, we collapse, we give up, but this collapse is also positive. I use the color white because I alluded to the work of the soul. We are able to leave old paths and thoughts and look at things from another point of view. It's a moment of great potential, of great beauty. Next. Ho fame di natura. I'm hungry for nature. In my research, the mantra is a tool for thought that is a sacred expression. The series emerging from it expresses my faith in art, a spiritual lay path. The mantra is an opportunity for the artist, but also the chance for a deep encounter with another and for another. During the first lockdown, the lack of daily contact with nature pushed me to invent a new one, creating a counterbalancing beauty. This work of art also speaks of the wild and vital element we all have within us, which might to be defined erotic, relating the profound, mysterious, and hidden aspect of our personality. Next, please. Ritratto botanico, un progetto di arte partecipata. Botanical Portrait. Participatory Art Project. Invited to the Macro Asilo Museum in Rome for a residency, I thought of using clay in its raw form, without cooking. I met 100 people in 7 days. I made 100 drawings. The theme of nature has become a pretext to make intimate, profound portraits of the soul. People therefore participated in the creation of the installation work. Next. Cuscino velenoso. Poisonous Pillow. Poisonous Pillow is an artwork that speaks of appearances so sweet and delicate in shape and color. In reality, the drawings tells a tale of mental obsession, illnesses, and conflicting relationships. Pink is also the color that connects the mind to the higher self. Next. This is the artwork that is selected to the prize. Assurdo Feliniano. Feliniano Absurd. The work looks into the soul of Fellini, a very famous Italian director. Represented by dark, male iron and by soft, pink maiolica, speaking of his earthly and dreaming amours and of his fragile, seductive side. The great maestros live on in their works of art, source of inspiration for other artists, who bargain continually, contaminating everyone with their genius. So I decided to add to the sculpture. Began in 2020, a new part every year. The process isn't finished. As we look deeper in, we find another mystery. like a bread that continues to rise. It's still growing. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiorenza. Thank you for such a lively and vigorous approach to ceramics, and I think everyone will enjoy to meet you and to see your pieces in Faenza. Thank you.
Me too.
And now we will have our last presenter for today, and it's a Serbian artist, Lana Rakanovic. She's focusing on research of a human body in a wider context of social occurrence. Lana, the floor is yours. Turn on your microphone, please.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's not my first time that I exhibit in Faenza, and I will start with the next slide. It is Show Must Go On. I was presented there like in 2008 or 9, I'm not sure. And this is a story which inspired by the true facts, one Bulgarian artist, circus artist, Desi Espana, died after a performance, and her colleague tried to amuse the public. So basically, when you go to the next slide, we have Desi Espana, who is in the middle of the installation. And I present that work with a lot of story about like family in circus, like family business, and put her in the middle of that installation. So we can switch to other details. Next. And we can go to pre-qualification second chance. Also, this is work from 2000 and I think 14. Basically, no, 2011. It's in the collection of the Museum of Faenza, and it's a story about people who are early retirement, and they need like 5 or less years to the fully pension, but they have to learn some new things, new skills to fulfill that gap. And in this particular installation, they learn how to swim, so they can just fill that gap and go to pension really like in like 65 or 60 years for women. So you can see like details in next 2 slides. And that's the, also when you do the human figure, you are always, you can put next slide. You can always put some emotions on face and some expressions, and you can really play with that. And even if you have some team who is basically serious one, you can put it through some humorous, and your first impression is not that it's so serious, but after a while you can think about it. So we can go to the next slide, and this is Rope to Heaven. This is my work for Taipei. I was exhibited there, and basically, this is the people who are having rope to go to heaven, and the rope could symbolize very different stuff, but in this meaning, it's symbolizes just a harder way to get to heaven. Basically, in Serbia, when we go through, and we're still going through like global transition, many constitutional rights are violated, And for example, government basically disobey the rules and they take 5% of pension for 4 years in a row. So for fiscal consolidation, like they say, and a lot of people struggle because of that at this point right now. And we can go to the next slide. This is also details. So I want to say just that in previous works, I was working with engobas, and this is stoneware. And here is stoneware as well, but I painted with alcohol paints. I use it for makeup because this is my other job, special makeup effects. And when I try on ceramic, it's look very translucent, like aquarelle. And I always mix with human hair, with plastic, with silicones, with a lot of other things to get what I want. Next slide. So this is also details from this work. And next slide. So this is Frito Misto. This is something from last year, and it's called Frito Misto on the silver platter. Basically, it was exhibited in Alcobaça in Portugal last year, and it was a theme, Mediterranean something. So basically, Mediterranean, what reminds me of, it's always some food, seafood, or some Latin lover. In lots of occasion, you can heard about that stuff, and this is metaphor. Frito Misto is something that we consume, buy on the street and consume it just like that, and it's a metaphor for also some Mediterranean love. And next, please. This is also the other angle and detail after. Next. And we get to Mangiare Pornografico, and this is work I will present it on Faenza Prize this year. And this talk about how food and sex turn on the same trail, from the Roman orgies to fine dining, aphrodisiac bites. It's basically nothing's changed. So chasing for flavors mimic the chase for the lost sexual excitement, and sensual pleasures like candy or flesh merge in just one visual ecstasy. And when we look at that way, and when we watch movies, they basically, coffee means sex, and we also are seduced by food porn on Instagram. But does it fill our basic needs? We don't know. But both sex and food remain primal needs, and that is forever in human desire. So that's that, and you can just show maybe a little details. So that's it.
Thank you, Lana. Thank you for your impressive, colorful and meaningful installations. It is great to see such emotionally saturated artworks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we are done with the presentations part today, and thank you everybody one more time. And now we can move to questions. So we don't have questions from audience. Maybe there are any questions that you would like to ask each other. So if not, then I will ask one question that is for everybody. It's, of course, it's not mandatory to answer it. If you don't want, if you feel that you don't want to answer, you can stay silent. Just an interest of myself. When applying for Faenza Prize or any other competitions, do you create a unique artwork specifically for each competition, or do you select from your existing artworks, from the existing collection of your artwork? So is there anybody who wants to answer?
I select. I participate with these 3 pieces on purpose.
So you created the artworks especially for Faenza Prize?
No, I selected that for this competition and not for another, because I was thinking that was with the 3D could be something related with the nature relationship, could be interesting. Yeah. Also, I participated with another, because I participated with 2 projects. Another was I am always interested in the environment, and so I going around to cleaning some space outdoor, and then I put a sculpture. Is Genius Loci was called. This other sculpture maybe was more interesting. The one has been selected.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to answer?
Well, I'll just say that I'm a full-time practicing artist. Is there funny feedback?
It echoes.
Yes, probably the audio echoes because
I don't know what's going on. Just to say that having the time in Jingdezhen, that 3-month residency, gave me some time to explore some ideas that I hadn't, had time in my regular practice to look at before. So it was wonderful to have this opportunity to present some new works, taking these works onto the wall. But generally, I find just being a full-time artist, it's hard to really step aside and feel like I would be giving my best work for something brand new, created just for a competition. So generally, I tend to select from the work that I'm doing.
Thank you. So is there anyone who wants to add or discuss something else? If not, then it's time to finish this edition of Faenza Prize Talks. And thank you to all artists for sharing their processes and ideas. Your work contributes a lot to the understanding of ceramics. Thank you also to everyone who was watching us today. And I want to remind that next edition of Faenza Prize Talks will take place next Wednesday, 9th of April at 2 p.m. Roman time. And next time we will meet Claude Dumas, Malin Hartmann Rasmussen, Marina Rodriguez, Ilona Romule, Alina Schmidt, Agnes Embereite, Lin Dong, and Todd Schanafeld. Thank you, everybody, and bye.
もうやるから。